I destroyed my family, I destroyed myself, I destroyed anything that I ever care about, and I kept on going down and further down in life until I was at the bottom of the barrel. I was pretty much the worst people, and certain things happened to me that, I don't want to elaborate on too much further here, because as a Muslim's meant to conceal his sins, and I'm not too proud of how I used to be. But there came a point where I asked God to save me from what was going to happen to me. I was either going to get killed or certain things, and I said to myself, I'll have to do it now, mate. There's no turning back, Muhammad. You've come to this point in your life where, last part has God Almighty shown you,
I must admit I did have a lot of the believed in a lot of the negative stereotypes about Islam, such as sort of the irrational, the terrorist, misogynist type attitude of Muslims. And when I found this was not the case, that it spurned more interest. And well, what else don't I know? And the Muslims actually that I met, like the first time I actually had that human contact with Islam and Muslims, they were actually some of the finest human beings that I'd met, and it was quite shocking to me, actually. I was listening to a ABC News Radio, and they said that a Queensland company had just marketed a special honey, a medicinal honey, because honey has a lot of antibacterial properties. Okay, 2 days before that, I'd been given my first Quran. All right, that afternoon, I thought to myself, "Oh, that's interesting about the honey, etc." That afternoon, I went home and I said, "Oh, let's have a look at this Quran," and I opened it up to Surah the B, and I apologise, I don't remember the verse, but the very thing I read when I got home was, and that blew me away. I mean, wow.
If I ever find I need to cleanse my heart or, soothe my senses, I'll just read the Quran.
Before I came to Islam, what you see on the news and what you hear, it's the same thing that someone who's ignorant of the religion and doesn't really pick up a book and start reading about the religion would have. Like those same ideas, terrorists, just Arabs and so forth, blah, blah, blah. So it wasn't too good of a view, but the fact that I knew some Muslims kind of balanced that out. There was a time when I was just doing some vacation employment at uni, and there was nowhere else to pray, so I just got up and said, okay, I need to pray, and I just prayed, right on the side there. And after when I finished praying, they started asking about Islam, and it's an opportunity, I guess, to tell them more about Islam. Initially, they'll be like, they don't know how to take it, like, because they don't want to say anything wrong, but it's a matter of being steadfast and making yourself known as a Muslim, so people would ask you, because I think a lot of people are curious just exactly what Islam is, and if they find out you're a Muslim, then they'll tend to have, so far personally, my experience have all been positive, so they've all been like, just what is Islam, why do you pray, etc., etc.
Islam began in Indonesia through tradesmen. The honesty of these tradesmen in their business dealings and their manners sort of made them stand out in that society. And so when the message of Islam came, it was easy for them to accept. Previously, Indonesians worshipped idols, which meant when Islam came to them, it made sense to them. And that they realized that gods cannot just be carved out of stone or wood, and that God is much greater than that.
Islam is one, and that's what I really love about Islam. It doesn't matter what color you are, it doesn't matter what religion you come from. It invites everybody in, and it's very different to what the Jewish people teach you as well. So that was another reason why I actually came here, because in like a sense, it sort of makes sense because it starts from Adam and it goes all the way to the last prophet, and that involves everyone. It involves all religions that believe in God. One thing that really stood out was when they got somebody in, and it was like a young boy, and he was actually reading the Quran in Arabic, and I started to feel it in my heart when he was reading it in Arabic. And to me, like, I don't even understand it. I was actually like wanting to cry. I was actually thinking, stop it, because I'm going to cry in a second. So, like, that's when I knew, well, definitely I feel it in my heart if I can feel this, yeah.
A lot of people don't like change. But if Muslims lived the way the Prophet ﷺ lived, how could anyone not accept Islam? And this is the most important thing, that Muslims hold the torch, and they must, show the rest of the world that, this is how Muslims are, this is how Muslims should be. One of those things where I'd left home early and had a good upbringing, and I knew right from wrong, but I wanted to get a taste of life, and alhamdulillah, Allah saved me, at a young age, rather than going into the bad things in life.
If I wouldn't have found Islam, I know that I would have had a very hard life. I was going in the wrong direction, so Islam sort of it gives me a peace. That's what I know. It gives me peace. I know where I'm going. I know what the future is. Like, where you're gonna go, heaven or hell. And so I know it's been a stable part of my life. And I now treat my parents well. Alhamdulillah, I treat my parents well. And I know that if I hadn't found Islam, it wouldn't be like that. Islam and Christianity, there's not much difference. Like Christians have a strong feeling of doing things right for God. Like they're very religious. Like, I believed in God before I was Muslim, and of course I still believe in God. And so do my family. They believe in God. And so just the thing about Jesus being part of God, that's the only thing about it. Otherwise, Islam and Christianity, they're very, very, very similar. Islam, you're not allowed to have alcohol, so of course that big problem in my country will be solved, and a lot of men will dedicate more time to their families. And there's problems with stealing as well. Stealing is not allowed in Islam. I think that would solve all the problems all around the world, the major problems. And people will start concentrating on themselves and their families that have more time to think. Because when they have a problem, they just start, they drink alcohol, they do drugs, they go out and try and forget about their problems. But if you've always got God, like, you have time to think about your problems, yourself, and the meaning of life more.
I was